Hello, everybody. We are back from Boxerfest. Dave and I are so excited to share it with you. You know what it is, The Wave by Subaru Mechanics. Yeah, we just want to make this a recap episode. As you can see, we got our hats on. We went to Boxerfest. We were there. We saw you. We had our tent up. We got our Boxerfest t-shirts. We got the pins. We did the whole deal. You know, I'd been planning till this year of what do I want to do? Where do we want to be? You know, now we got the podcasts. We're going to make a bigger, push for more and try to get more people involved. And Boxerfest is such an amazing place. And this year, the biggest difference was that we were actually in the event. So there were people constantly coming by and seeing us. We weren't outside the event like last year where we were only catching people on the way in or on the way out. You know, I got to just say, I really appreciate the people that put that event together, that put us in a prime spot. Also, Rochester Subaru Club, shout out, amazing people. They let us use their spot to park our car. So we got to have Johnny's car in front of our tent, and then we got to have my car in front of their tent. In exchange, I had to put a Rochester Subaru Club sticker on my car, and very willing to do that. So, they're great guys, and I actually saw them last year. So
fortunate circumstances. We made the best out of what we can do. And you know what? Again, shout out to Rochester Subaru guys. Great group of guys. We had a great time with both of our neighbors. Let's just say it the least. Like, it was just a great event overall.
You know, Dave and I plan to have him fly out for this. We've been talking about it on the podcast over and over again. And we finally committed. Dave bought the ticket, came out here. He got the Airbnb. We got that all set up. And we made an event of it. I had my buddy Matt, who I also work with, come out and stay with us. And we were planning to have Johnny come out and stay with us as well, which did work out. And Johnny was able to park out front of our booth because of that, which was really cool of him. We get the Airbnb. Dave and I, are planning to meet up on Friday. I was going to leave right after work with Matt, and he was going to fly in and land, go there. And the first hiccup in the trip began, which was we had ordered a custom canopy, the Wave podcast, big backdrop with all the logos and the sponsors. We were going to have 2 walls, have an AC unit inside the tent. Like, we were going to be bougie. It was going to be great. Basically, the tent that we ordered, the canopy got sent to Dave's house. So we were like, oh man, we're limited on time. Like, we got to get that over to me in New Jersey so that I could bring it to the event. So Dave shipped it. And unfortunately, the way that post office works, it's gone. So
we're still trying to figure it out. It's somewhere in New Jersey. We know that much. It made it to New Jersey, but it never made it, unfortunately, to Pat.
If anybody listening to this works in Teterboro Distribution Center, we need you. We need you now more than ever.
Please help us.
Yeah, so that kind of threw the first spoke in the wheel. We needed to determine the likelihood that we were going to see the cover for our tent, because that was going to determine if I was going to bring the whole chassis and everything for it, or if I was going to wait till Saturday, see if the tent came in. And then if it didn't, then we had to really last minute figure something out. So basically, I decided that Matt was going to sleep over. We were going to just, check the post office 9 a.m. in the morning, and then kind of go from there and determine what the next plan of attack was. I wake up early. I sprint to the post office. I'm there right when they open, and I'm like, is it here? And they're like, very confused. And I was like, we talked yesterday. I told you how important this is. I need the tent. Get me the tent. And they were like, oh, we would know if we saw a 25-pound box. And I'm like, I would hope so. So basically, I even called corporate. All they can tell you is that they don't know where it is. And then it went to the wrong place. And then the wrong place was like, this isn't for us. So they sent it back to the hub. And now it's floating around in the hub somewhere. And that's kind of where I determined, you know what? This isn't happening. Let's just get in the car and go. I called Dave. I told him to go to Walmart, get us a tent. We did a last minute setup. And yeah, that was kind of where everything began. We just wanted to, get everything we could. Dave picked up the tent with a backdrop that was all white, and then we got markers to basically be able to write on it. We get down there, we get to the Airbnb. So this is Dave with his rental, my Subaru, and then my buddy Matt's Honda. It was 2.5 hours for me to get there. Really excited to get down there. We had a whole weekend planned. This is us in the car. And that was us on our way to Jim Max. We stopped for lunch. We had some burgers that were absolutely slapping. Such good burgers.
Yes.
We were at the bowling alley in York. So if you guys go down next year, that place has awesome food. Really highly
It
recommend.
doesn't sound like it is because it's a bowling alley, but they have very, very good food.
Yeah, burger, flatbread, everything. So after we got down there, we did a little bit of rushing around, had a couple things to do, picked up, drinks and whatever. And then we headed over to Jim Max, and this was the pre-meet on Saturday. And we were just kind of walking around. We got to see some really cool cars. There's a lot of great people there. As you can see, they had some really cool builds. It was a full parking lot, really cool picture. For anybody listening, Jim Max is an old ice cream place in New York, and they got this big grass lot in the back. And basically, they give us the permission to park all the cars there. And so we have a pre-meet, and the picture that I have on the screen now basically shows all the cars lined up. Really good turnout.
Yeah. And from what I've heard, they've been doing that for multiple years now. So shout out to Jim Max because I heard from somebody in the know, if you will, that said that when the first year came about before pre-Boxerfest, they talked about doing a meet there. They reached out to Jim Max and offered to effectively rent and pay for the space for the lot.
Yeah.
And Jim Max refused and said, come on down. Shout out to them because I think as a small business that really, really resonates, with the underlying community, that this kind of event promotes and people coming out.
Yeah. And I mean, I am somebody who loves custom builds. I love stuff that is so different and cool. And this is like the time to see that stuff. Everything comes out of the woodwork. And this was one of the really cool ones at the Jim Max meet that I loved. It's got the big diffuser, roof scoop, all the neon yellow. And then it had these really cool custom carbon fiber mirrors that I just absolutely loved.
The
I thought
mirrors were
this,
gorgeous.
yeah, this was a really cool car. This was the inside of it. Everything's neon yellow. The e-brake, the shifter, cool setup. I really,
Very cleanly done too. Very cleanly done.
yeah. You know what's crazy? And something that I didn't see last year, maybe I wasn't paying attention, but 8.6s, man, they made up like half of the whole community that showed up. It was like,
Shout out to the 8.6s, man. They were everywhere this weekend. And honestly, I don't think that I've seen as many of them in one place before. Like,
yeah, and also shout out to the Midwest 8.6 Club. Like those guys were super cool.
yeah.
We got to meet a lot of them this weekend, and they were just a really great group of people. There was just a lot of really cool BRZs and old cars, and this was so if you guys remember Niraj, as I bring up every episode at this point, he has the 3D printed engine that he's working on. Well, Niraj, in that episode, we mentioned that he had a kit car. I think it's a Factory 5 kit car, and it looks exactly like this. It's the same one, and his is red. Same thing. He put a Subaru engine in it, and so this is the crazy thing about this. And I really hope that Niraj is not the same, but the engine is in its rear engine, and it's just open, like this is right behind your head, and you can see
Yeah.
very clearly there is a blow-off valve right behind your head. Like, I don't know how this doesn't just blow your ears out driving. It's just absurd. I just like, this is like, there's a terrible picture of me taking this picture, but I just thought that it was insane that this was even a thing that exists. This is this right here was what I called the iconic "this is every Subaru driver." You know, the biggest scoop you can find with the heaviest sea light headlights you could find, slammed STI wing. I just like, to me, I was like, this is me at 18. It's like, God, this is what I thought I wanted in my life. But yeah, I mean, it just kept going. There's just so many cool cars. This one caught Dave and I by surprise. We were looking at it because
Oh
the
yeah.
whole engine and the intercooler was tilted to the side, and it was just kind of like a weird setup because it's made for it. So it was just like, I think this one was right-hand drive, if I remember correctly. This Legacy is insane. It has a H6 and it's supercharged, custom
Hmm.
supercharger build. This just like is insane. I can't believe that this thing even exists. And there was a funny story that I was told by a new friend of the podcast, Devin Force, or Devin Hoffman. We got to meet her at this event. We met her through Johnny from 2 episodes ago,
Hmm.
and she was telling me that she pulled up next to this car and she forgot that it's a supercharged H6. So they went to race each other and the car just took off, just gone. And I just thought that was so cool because this is such a sleeper. This car
Yeah.
it looks like a normal Legacy from the outside. It's just plain.
All the more reason to check out at least the YouTube version, the video or the Spotify, where you can actually see a picture of this thing because it's absolutely gorgeous. And do you not see a scorpion vibe with that intake manifold? I couldn't
Yeah.
help but see it and talk about it when we saw it the first time. I was like, it just looks like a scorpion.
It looks to me like in Alien vs Predator, the thing that like sticks to your face.
That's a good one. It's a very, very clean build, and like you could tell that there was an intent.
Yeah, we met a lot of cool people and we met a lot of crazy cars this weekend. Just absolute animal builds, things that Dave and I even haven't seen before, like just insane. I knew that the Jim Max meet was just going to be like the perfect lead up to Boxerfest because it was a beautiful day, tons of cars out. It was just perfect. Basically, after Jim Max, everybody was supposed to go to this car wash for this pre-meet, but Dave and I knew that we were missing stuff that we needed for Boxerfest, so we were like, "Screw it, we'll go to Walmart." We stopped at the car wash. There was nobody there. We ran to Walmart. My buddy Matt decided that he wanted a blow up futon, and we ended up using it in our booth for the whole day, which was
It was
hilarious.
amazing. It was amazing. Shout out to Mac. That was absolutely the best thing ever.
Yeah,
Um,
he was just absolutely like dumbfounded that this thing was $35 for a blow up couch, essentially. He had everybody in Walmart hyped on that couch. They all wanted to sit in that thing. So we ended up kind of getting back to the Airbnb and dropping everything that we brought or that we bought from Walmart. And we were like, okay, there's the, hotel meetup tonight. So we were like, let's get prepped. We'll go over there. We'll meet with everybody at the hotel. And they had kind of like a pre-party kind of thing down in the lobby. So I got to take a cool picture of Dave while we were there. Just it looks like a kid walking by, just like, oh my gosh, look at this thing. It's um but yeah, it was a really cool car. It had the vinyl on the headlights, so it had like a rainbow to it, and
oh,
it
it
was
was
just
amazing.
clean car.
Beautiful
Um,
color.
the whole 86 group was staying at this hotel, and then they had all these amazing cars outside as well. This was also from the bowling alley, just having lunch, having a drink. Yeah, so the hotel party ended, and we went back to the Airbnb, and we met up with Johnny, and Johnny had showed up. We were like, "Yes, he's here. Let's get him in." It's like 11:30 at night, and we end up talking with him, and he's just such a cool guy. He's got so many stories, and we ended up just talking and having a good time. And the next thing we realized, it was 3 in the morning, and we needed to be up in 2 hours to go
Yeah.
run our booth and everything. The photo right now, for you guys listening, is my car and Johnny's car with the rest of the Subarus at Sheetz first thing in the morning. And we were literally zombies at this point. We were on 2 hours of sleep. We were just so tired. It was just awful. But we kept going and we made it through. And this is us posted up first thing in the morning at Boxerfest. So you have basically Keystone State, which was to our left. They were actually the number one group at Boxerfest, which was really cool. They had a lot of people there. Um, our booth, our makeshift booth with the t-shirt hanging in the back behind Johnny's car there. And if you guys remember from the podcast, Johnny had ordered some new wheels. So he also had a shipping issue where Johnny was waiting on these wheels to show. And I guess two of them showed and two of them didn't. So he was like, you know what? I can't put them on. So I'm just going to bring one and put it out for people to see. So he did that. I just wanted to show you guys. We took some pictures. I got to see Johnny set up in real life. Absolutely amazing car. Dave and I both got to sit in it. And when I got in it, I just had to sit there for a minute with the door shut and just like, it's just like everywhere you look, there's something custom. Like such a cool car. You sit in it and it's got the low gear, the high gear. He's got the crazy shift knob. You know, he's got all these compartments and switches and everything does something. And like, you know, we got to see the full pull-out kitchen in the back, and we were looking at it all day, and, like, people loved it. People were coming up and checking it out and everything, and it was just so cool, you know? Really honored that he gave us the chance to, have him and come out and park up in front of our booth and everything, and, you
Yeah.
know, the other thing about Johnny is you can tell that everybody in the community knows him and loves him, and they all just, you know, they appreciate what he's done. I really thought it was a special weekend, and I thought Johnny coming out really added to that because we got to see one of our interviews in real life, and you know, Dave and I got to meet for the first time flying out, and it really felt like all of these virtual relationships coming to fruition, you know, like we all were just meeting each other for the first time and it was just such a great time. This was like a couple of the cars that we picked out that, you know, we saw in the event that we thought were kind of cool. Keystone had a really cool one. They had a Deadpool car. It was all black and red, and the head in the engine bay would blink and move, and it was like such a crazy build. Um,
Remember the first time we all saw it though? We like you said, we were all very dazed and confused. Hu Early morning on very limited sleep. The first time I saw this, I didn't know what to think. I didn't know if it was really happening, if it was real, or I was imagining it. I was like, "Oh, that Deadpool head, I thought it moved, but it didn't move, no."
yeah.
And then I sat there for a minute, I looked at it, and sure enough, it moves.
We ran into a couple other builds. This one was so cool to me. You know, every once in a while when you're at a meet, there's one car that you just keep circling back to because every time that you come back to it, you see something different. And this guy had this cool poster that said, like, basically, his car is not a car, but it's an art piece. And he's he's right. Everything was airbrushed. The engine bay, everything was painted. Like in the trunk too, he had air tanks for the air suspension that were also painted. Like everything from the interior, the whole dash, like it was just like such a cool car to check out. And then we had prime real estate for the autocross show with Bucky and Pastrana and all their cars lined up. So we, you know, Scout Speed, we had to take pictures of all their cars. Um, you know, just such a cool thing, you know, and here's Pastrana. This is how close we were. He was right there getting prepped. You know, Bucky came up and was talking to him as well. So we just thought that was a really cool thing that happened. And, you know, being that close to somebody that's this successful in this field and like has done so many crazy different things, it's really amazing. I'm always in awe of people that have like just raw talent and are just so good at what they do. And I think that Travis Pastrana is one of those people, like, he's been in everything. From Nitro Circus to TV shows to, now being hooked up with Subaru and doing rally and, like, it's just amazing, and I think that he's just a really awesome guy for doing this every year, and you could see why the signing line for signatures is around the block every year, and they have to cut it off at some point. I think that Dave and I are both very, very sure that we are going to be back next year, and we're going to just continue the good work that we already started. Rhiannon Galissimo, she actually came over. I got to meet her because she was checking out Johnny's build, and she was like so fascinated by it because it's so cool. It's so different. It's one of one. Like, for anybody who hasn't seen it, like when you run into that car for the first time, you're like, wow, this is not an overnight build. This is really cool. And the one thing I kept hearing the whole time was, when did you get this from Australia? And he was like, no, I converted it. And they were like, you what? Like, I think people were just like, holy. Basically, everything ended where it began. All of our cars parked at the Airbnb. The one big takeaway for me was that we got to meet Devin, which was so cool. She came over. We did a video where she was asking us questions, and Dave and I responded. She posted it on her Instagram and stuff like that. Really cool person, really down to earth, makes sense why her and Johnny are so cool. And I think that, like, we're really excited to possibly have her on in the future and get to sit down and talk with Devin. So in terms of the event itself, everything was great. I thought that they handled everything really well. I thought that, the stuff that they bring every year is like really cool, like the rock wall, and they have the car show and everything. And so, yeah, I mean, Dave, what was your favorite moment from Boxerfest?
My sister and my niece and nephew got to come up for a couple hours during the event, getting to see their level of excitement and rather what excited them as children, from an automotive standpoint, was rejuvenating in a lot of ways, I guess, to say the least. And I guess my takeaway was that they were able to see some really amazing cars and to see what really excited them was really interesting.
Outside of us meeting and, us having a great weekend, I think that, to be honest, my favorite moment was meeting Clint Summerfield from CS Tuned. I don't get to meet our sponsors very often. It's again a very virtual relationship. A lot of these guys are in different places. Company 23 is in Wisconsin, Teeter Automotive's in Illinois. Freddie Brees is down in Delaware. I mean, you're in Colorado. It's just like flat out. Dan over there, he's one of the only people I really see. Tanner from CTSV Brake Swap, same thing. Don't really see him. So for me to get the chance to meet one of our newer sponsors in person and really like be able to have that conversation, what a cool guy. Really down to earth. I really loved our conversation. And like, I love when people are appreciative of the work that has gotten us here. I mean, Subaru mechanics for me really was a battle. I mean, it's something I started 10 years ago. It was nice and refreshing to hear Clint say that he's run groups before, and they had 30,000 people, not 300,000. And he knows the struggle of how difficult it is just with that small of a group, and, it really is like an everyday battle. And I think that him appreciating that was really, really, a cool moment for me. And I think that I was just really happy to be able to give him some t-shirts and give some to, to Trenton when he gets home. And I think that overall, like, I would love to just be able to do more with him and our other sponsors and just be able to either fly out and meet them or, take videos with them or more podcasts. And I just think that, like, Clint is one of the people I would love to have on the podcast too. I think that that's another future episode for us.
Oh, we gotta
So
get Clint on. We gotta get him on.
yeah,
I'm just gonna say it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Clint has to come on.
I think the biggest thing I took away from this weekend is I just feel really blessed. I feel blessed that you and I have been able to make this what it is. I think that I'm blessed that you were able to come out, take the trip, spend a weekend with us. Everything was awesome. We had a great time. We got to run the whole booth, meet a ton of people in the industry. And I thought it was just a really cool time. And the other thing is, like, a lot of things went right. We had a great interview right before Boxerfest. And, this is like the last event before I have my child in about 6 months. To be honest, I do really want to sit down with you guys. I want to be able to sit down and do interviews or podcasting and be able to just talk with the people that listen to us. We're just two guys rambling about Subarus. I think that it's cool that we have such a large following already that is behind us, and we're getting really great interviews because of that. Something I wanted to see at Boxerfest that I was excited to see was something old, right? I love old cars. I wanted to see, because every year you see the new model come out, everybody buys them, they all do the same crap. All the fenders are painted to match the car, and they got the same, whatever. And so my hope was I wanted to see like a Subaru 360 or like a Subaru Sandbar. Now that importing is like going through the roof, and everybody's getting these cars in. And so we did get to see some of the little pickup sandbars and stuff. I wanted to see like a sandbar, like the minivan, like the old 70s van, or like the 360 with the suicide doors or something. But I think both of us can agree that the pleasant surprise was the Brat.
The Brat,
The Brat was so cool. Some
and
guy,
it won an award too. It
yeah,
as it should.
he got the Bucky LASIK award. I'm pretty sure that's the one that Bucky chose.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, That car was amazing. It's a full resto. The guy did it with his son. They painted it. They did all the interior. It looks insane. Absolutely immaculate. They even had a mirror under the front end so you could see underneath it. I mean, just a beautiful car. And then they made a little mini car version for his son or whatever that they had identical to the Brat. So it was just such a
Yeah.
cool build. And I would say that satisfied my want for something old.
I agree. I talked to him for probably about half an hour. I won't lie. It felt like that because we just went down the rabbit hole of everything that he's done to it. And he started opening up like back little hatch panels and showing me things that he had done to it. He rebuilt it with his son. And I think that's really a testament to, passing things on and that future generation of automotive enthusiasts.
The other thing that kind of blew my mind about this weekend was that there's so many WRXs. Like, I know that a lot of people like the Overland builds, and there's a lot of, Outbacks or Legacies or Foresters or whatever, but like, you know, I I just it I feel like there's no possible way that Subaru is going to stop making the WRX. I feel like even though they're playing around with like STI or no STI, right? I think that it's like this is a staple car for this community, and they would lose so many people if they stop making it. Toyota came out and said, we will never make the Supra an EV. You know, Ford came out and said that they will never make a electric Mustang, even though they made the Mustang, right? They're claiming that they will never make an actual electric Mustang. And like I feel that Subaru needs to say the same thing. We're never going to make it electric. We're going to keep making these cars. We're going to keep updating them, keep giving them, more power, whatever they got to do, new features. there's such a niche market right now for fun, cheaper sports cars. And even though Subaru's creeping into being a more expensive car brand, something that you and I have talked about is that they're one of the few that doesn't have a luxury brand. So they're kind of commingled in with what they got because they're trying to offer stuff to their lower end community, but then they're trying to offer stuff to their higher end community. So where this all burns down to is that if they end up cutting models and sticking to a set number of cars, they can't they can't pull a Mitsubishi and get rid of everything cool that they ever had. They can't just turn and get rid of the Evo and get rid of
Yeah.
the Eclipse and get
I
rid of
don't see them
everything
doing
else.
that. I hopefully don't believe them doing that. The problem is I think that it is hard because it's getting harder and harder when you look at the landscape of how do we offer a vehicle from an affordable budget standpoint. Let's say hypothetically, if Subaru were to offer a vehicle, the WRX that was on the akin to a 90s Miata, could be
Yeah.
affordable, but it might not do well at all.
And not just that, I challenge anybody to tell me if they know where their nearest Mitsubishi dealer is, right? That's what happens. That's what, you know, that's what happens when you just say, "Hey, we're going to just sell Outlanders from now on. And we're going to put a Rockford Fosgate audio system in it with a cool
Nobody
sub
cares.
in the back, and
Nobody cares.
it's going to be our new pimp and ride." And it's like,
Nobody cares.
"No. You killed it. You killed all of it. It's dead. You shot it, you took it out back, you shot it, and now it's dead. And you now are running off of the 5 dealers left in the US, and that is what you've done." And so I feel like Subaru should know if they learn anything from Mitsubishi, who was clearly their rival for a long time with the 2 cars battling it out. When you throw it all away and you get rid of all the fun racing stuff and you lose that side of the community, you lose it all. You lose all the dealers. They all
Mhm.
That's it. Nobody's buying any more cool cars because they think that you're lame, you know? I think
I
it's
guess
like
I question maybe Subaru's experimenting now with the whole wilderness category and saying, "Can we survive on this alone, though?"
I get that, but dude, look at what all of these other manufacturers are realizing. They're realizing that, dude, the Ford CEO that came in, he wanted to make everything electric and we're going to cut all the cars out. We're not going to sell the RS anymore. We're not going to sell any of the Fiestas, Focuses, all that stuff. They got rid of all the fun, cheap cars that brought all those people to their brand. And
Mhm.
like, but the problem is they already have Lincoln, right? They the community that they're trying to get to buy Fords are their
Sure.
Lincoln community. So if you're willing to just throw away all like because this is the whole thing.
You're right.
If you're gonna buy an expedition for $100,000, why would you spend $110,000 to get a navigator?
When you interview the modern driver
Yeah,
or future driver, "Do you plan to own a vehicle?" "No." "Well, how do you plan to get around?" "Uber." "Well,
that too.
what do you do when you wanna drive when you have to get a car?" "The car will drive me."
Yep.
I think manufacturers are humbly seeing the writing on the wall of where consumerism is going, and consumerism is going away from actually people that wanted to drive a car.
If Boxerfest is any indication of how well Subaru is doing, right? Like they're doing really great. Look at all these events they're having and all these people that show up and everything. I think that just where I worry is that, like, right now, the automotive community is under attack. We feel like caged animals, right? They're taking away our drag strips. We have the people that we don't claim that are doing takeovers in intersections. You know, like,
Mhm.
we have so many aspects of racing that are getting a bad rep or are causing issues and it's really affecting everybody because now these manufacturers are getting cracked down on by the government and now they are being forced to make different things and they are not seeing the value in racing and not seeing the value in the community that they're helping create. It's really a just a whole nother thing at this point. I think that we're trying to keep the community alive, and the few of us that run very legitimate businesses or very legitimate clubs are doing everything we can to not be associated with these other entities, because we just don't want to cause these problems. And I think that, well, as far as the drag strips going away, like, that's the problem that needs to be figured out. It's causing people that drive these cars to stop building them, to stop wanting to take them to the drag strip, to stop breaking records. I will die on the hill that drag racing started in California. It is an American sport. It should stay in America, and there's no reason why it should be dying or we should be trying to push it out, because, like, we started it. It's like, what are you gonna go and tell, like, all of South America to FIFA's over, sorry, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like it's the most American pastime is racing on a dirt road, and, like, we made an entire industry of it. And now
Yeah,
people are moving in from wherever, like, either it's people moving into town or people moving in from out of the country, wherever it is. They're moving
sure.
into these communities around these drag strips. They're complaining about the sound and, the disruption of their day and everything, but it's like, these have been here. These are people's jobs. Like, you know what I mean? I think that
Mhm.
it's, you know, this is becoming more of a tangent, but I just wanted to say that, like, with all of that nonsense going on, it felt good to go out and be part of the community. It felt good to meet you, to meet our sponsors, to really get a chance to, like, sit down with people, network. And I think that, like, it's an indication that, like, the battle isn't lost. We're still fighting it. We're still out here trying to push the automotive agenda. And I think
I
that
like to I like to believe the same thing.
yeah. And I think that Subaru's doing it in a good way. They're doing it in a way where they're making sure everybody's under control. They're making sure that this is a family fun event. There's no issues, and they do it flawlessly every year. So who am I? So
I mean, again, we weren't the last ones to leave, shamelessly, but we didn't see any drama or any problems the entirety that we were there. Everybody there was about the community. Everyone was there about uh, doing the right thing and just wanting to hang out with each other. And I think that was what was so beautiful about the weekend was getting to hang out with a lot of other passionate enthusiasts. Whether we say around our shop, whether they're lifted or lowered, doesn't
yeah.
matter, and everything in between.
Something about Boxerfest is different. It's different than every other event that happens. It's different from H2O. It's different from H Day. I think what I like about it and what makes it so different is the respect level. Everybody who goes to this event has some sort of respect for it. They have respect for Travis Pastrana. They don't want to ruin an event that he's at because they respect him as a driver. They respect him as a person. Like, they respect Scott Speed. They respect Bucky Lasik. They respect Rhiannon. They respect the community, and so there's no problems. The police
Yeah.
were there all day. There were no issues. I think that it's like, it's a matter of, like, it's just a good time. Everybody's there. Nobody has any beef, and there's no idiots. Nobody's driving like an idiot. I think it's
No.
like, yes, maybe somebody does a pull on a back street or makes some noise or whatever, but, like, that I heard a lot last year on the way in. This year, I heard nothing. It was like everybody rolled in dead silent. I had a great time. I had an amazing time meeting you and everyone else. I think we made the most of it, for what we could on 2 hours of sleep. And, I think that, we're gonna be aiming to do a lot more community stuff. I wanna do a lot more stuff locally and, within my reach. Hopefully, I'm gonna be at Wicked Big next year. That's another big one I really wanna make next year. So we're gonna push for it. Everybody who's been listening and sticking with us, I just gotta say, if you watch every episode, if you watch some of our episodes, if you make it to the end, we appreciate you so much. We really do. We did all of this for you. we went out to Boxerfest. We had the t-shirts. We did everything. We got, we made all these last minute changes just to just on the fact that we were hoping that we would get to meet you guys, and we did. We got to be out there meeting everybody in the community, and Dave and I just can't appreciate you guys enough for all of that. So,
Definitely.
um, stay tuned. We're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep doing interviews. We're going to keep doing the WRX files. We're going to continue to get some other new ideas and more fun content for you guys. And we're just excited to see what comes next. So yeah, make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you ever want to help us, that's the easiest way. Follow our Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're on Instagram. We got the Facebook page, working on the TikTok now. So, there's just a lot of ways to support us, but we really appreciate you guys, and we will see you on the next one.